Okay, now check this shit. I'm a force to be reckoned with. 10 years from now, they gon' be asking how they slept on this.
Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Pyromancer here, and I'm hitting you guys with these videos. I mean, I don't know. We're literally like, we're either having revelations and we're discovering things that have never even been considered before, to my knowledge, or we are ghost hunting right now, and what I'm about to show you is completely wrong. But there is so much evidence to support that it is. So, spoiler alert, potential spoiler alert, if this turns out to be true, a gigantic portion of the upcoming storyline may be ruined for you. So, if you don't care, proceed with caution. But if you do care, you've had your chance. I'm going to continue with the video. So, the Whispers of Il'gynoth. I've talked about it several times in the last couple of videos, and I'm going to try to keep this as brief as I can, but no promises. The Whispers of Il'gynoth include several references to a lot of different, potentially different characters. So, let's go Whispers of Il'gynoth. Let's get these pulled back up here. Now, some of the whispers include: the boy king serves at his master's table. 3 lies he will offer you. Flesh is his gift, he's your true creator. The king of diamonds has been made a pawn. 5 keys to open our way, 5 torches to light our path. Her heart is a crater and we have filled it. To find him, drown yourself in a circle of stars. The Lord of Ravens will turn the key. At the hour of her 3rd death, she will usher in our coming. Here's my theory, and hear me out, because it's pretty in depth here. We might be stretching a bit, but I think it's absolutely possible. So, the King of Diamonds has been made upon. That is clearly Magni Bronzebeard. Way back in Ulduar, he touched the tablets, the Titan tablets that were there, and it froze him, essentially turning him into diamonds as I understand it. So, clearly that. Here's one line I want to talk about, because I think people have made too heavy-handed assumptions on this. The boy king serves at his master's table. Who's the boy king? Anduin Wrynn? Or is it Anduin Wrynn? See, Anduin might be young, but I wouldn't necessarily consider him a boy. Anduin is an adult. I mean, he's a man. He might not be exactly the same as Varian Wrynn in that aspect. However, he is technically a man. Is he a boy? And is he the king? Yes. 3 lies he will offer you. What has Anduin lied to us about yet? What has he really even said to us? Not much. So we're making these very heavy assumptions on Anduin Wrynn. But here's the thing. Flesh is his gift. He's your true creator. In the last video, if you missed it, go watch it. It's only 4 minutes long. I talk about how Yogg-Saron created the curse of flesh. Now, the curse of flesh affected the Earthen, who I'm going to talk to you about right now. The Earthen, sometimes referred to as early dwarves, were created by the Keepers to help shape the subterranean regions of the world of Azeroth underground. Earthen have at least 2 physical forms, those primarily seen in Uldaman and primarily seen in Ulduar, as stone or rock. And there's a sizable Earthen population in Deepholm, where I'm speculating we see Yogg-Saron up in the skybox. Make sure you check out these videos, guys. It all pieces together. So what's the point of this? That curse of flesh affected the Earthen, turning them into dwarves. Now, one of the clans of the dwarves is the Dark Iron clan. These dark-skinned dwarves, as you can see here, were formerly ruled by sorcerer Moira Thaurissan, who vied for control of Ironforge with the Bronzebeard clan and the Wildhammer clan during the War of the 3 Hammers. This is when all 3 of them were essentially having a civil war. The Dark Iron clan, now ruled by Moira Thaurissan, daughter of Magni Bronzebeard and widow of the late Emperor Dagran Thaurissan. The Dark Iron clan seek to forge a new future for themselves, independent of the tyranny of Ragnaros and his minions. So, if you look into the whole story with Blackrock, when the Dark Iron clan helped to push forth the resurrection of Ragnaros, the return of Ragnaros, we end up going into Blackrock Mountain. And I believe it is us who actually slays the Emperor, Dagran Thaurissan. And when you do that, Moira Thaurissan, that whole situation, something unusual happens. Now, a lot of you maybe have never even heard of Moira Thaurissan, so I'm going to pull her up right here. But before I do that, I want to talk about the Twilight's Hammer. The Twilight's Hammer, also known as the Twilight's Hammer clan, etc., etc., is a widespread nihilistic cult active across Azeroth that fanatically serves and worships the old gods. Okay. So, they have very strong ties to Cho'Gall. They were involved in the First and Second War. And they're pertinent for a couple of reasons. One, in the Shaman Order Hall questline, you're dispatched, like I've said in the other video, back to Deepholm to get rid of some of these Twilight cultists. But why would they still be there? If Deathwing has been slain, if there's no real benefit to be there aside from the blood of Deathwing, unless the blood of Deathwing contains something that we did not expect that it did, which could be old god energy. But up in the sky in Deepholm, like I said, is what I believe to be potentially an apparition of an old god. I think that's why the Twilight were there. Now let's get to Moira Thaurissan. Because Moira, not a lot of people know much about her. But Queen Regent Moira Thaurissan, born Bronzebeard, so an heir of the Bronzebeard, is the daughter of King Magni Bronzebeard, the King of Diamonds, and the widow of Emperor Dagran Thaurissan of the Dark Iron clan. As such, she is both Princess of Ironforge as well as Empress of the Dark Irons. Her son Dagran Thaurissan II is current heir to both thrones. Moira is the Dark Iron representative in the Council of Three Hammers that rules Ironforge following the petrification of her father. So as her father was petrified after interacting with the Titan tablets, Moira comes out and says, you know what, I'll take over. That's fine. In the time leading up to Legion, Blizzard released some graphic novels. They were kind of like comics that explained some of the storyline behind it. And upon hearing Moira's voice, Magni was awoken and then gave her the throne. It was handed to her willingly, or at least we thought it was. This ties it directly to the quotes coming from Veramathras, and I know that some of you guys will disagree with me, and that's okay. That's the beauty. That is the beauty of these types of videos. You can look at it however you want. So your reliance still endures. Veramathras is very old. Longer than I expected, though she has already planted the seeds of its downfall. She is patient, that one. When your thrones run red with betrayal, when your holy places burn, and the shattered mask hangs above your hearth, only then will you know, and it will be too late. But it matters not. You are blind to the true darkness closing in around you. People heavily attribute this to Sylvanas, and some to Jaina. Primarily Sylvanas. But were we wrong the whole time? Because she is very patient. Dwarves live a very long life. However, so do elves. And so do arcane-imbued humans, such as Jaina. But what if I told you that the son of Moira Thaurissan, Fenrir Thaurissan, son of Emperor Dagran Thaurissan of the Iron Dark clan, and Moira Thaurissan, born Bronzebeard of Ironforge, is half Bronzebeard and half Dark Iron. And Fenrir is heir to the thrones of both the Kingdom of Ironforge and the Dark Iron clan. Until he is of age, the rule of Ironforge is decided by the Council of Three Hammers, composed of Moira, Mirrodin, Bronzebeard, and Falstad, because majority vote would go to the Emperor, who is heir of two different clans. The Boy King. This is truly a boy. And you can see, he still is a boy, has not been updated yet. He is not an adult like Anduin Wrynn. He serves at the Master's table. Given that the dwarves were turned into dwarves from the earthen by the curse of flesh, this child could hold the seed of an old god. Which would mean that this quote from the Whispers of Il'gynoth, the Boy King serves at the Master's table. The Master being potentially the Void. Potentially the old gods. Her heart is a crater and we have filled it. After the destruction with the civil war between all of the dwarves way back, some can attribute this crater being Moira's heart. She lost her father and she lost her husband. She could be a crater missing those portions of herself. In the void, the old gods may have infiltrated that space in her heart. Now, with that being said, I have further evidence to support that perhaps she is actually very, very important going into the next expansion, because Moira Thaurissan's a shadow priest. Coincidental in any way, do you think? That the fact that one individual who descends from a bloodline potentially corrupted by an old god would be interested in the shadow powers, void the old gods, and can actually be found in the Shadow Priest class hall standing around the center. She's involved with several quests. I think we have a Shadow Priest alt that I was able to get in there and look at. And there is a lot of void presence that goes on in the priest class order hall, as well as light. So, what I am reckoning, what I'm willing to bet, is that Moira Thaurissan is the one that is patient and has planted the seed, her son, for the throne to run red with betrayal. When your thrones run red with betrayal. Let me go back to the Varimathras dialogue. Not a throne, your thrones. There happens to be 3 thrones that sit at the heart of the Ironforge. One for the Bronzebeard, one for the Wildhammer, and one of the Dark Iron. However, there's also, like I said, the Twilight's Hammer, which is a faction strewn from the Dark Iron clan that heavily, heavily worships the old gods in the void. So what does this all mean? Really, what does it all come to? There's a couple quotes that I'd like to just go over here with you. So, he is present at the Elemental Invasion meeting in Stormwind and informs the other Alliance leaders about the tablets of Ulduar. During the exploration of Ulduar, the dwarves found a set of mystical tablets created by the Titans, activating such a tablet to protect his people from the cataclysm. Magni Bronzebeard fell prey to a terrible curse that fused his statue-like form into the diamond heart of Ironforge itself. Ironforge's diamond heart would be Magni, making Magni Bronzebeard a pawn. To compound the strategy, Magni's estranged daughter Moira returned, claiming her father's throne for herself and for her infant Dark Iron son. In an effort to prevent turmoil breaking out, the Council of Three Hammers is established to succeed Magni, until the Boy King is ready to serve at the Master's table. In 3 lies for 3 thrones may he offer us. King Magni, upset that Moira was with an archenemy of his family, this is going back, sent a team to kill Emperor Thaurissan and retrieve the presumably ensorcelled Moira, I'm going to say Moira, that's how I'm going to pronounce it, back to Ironforge. However, Moira refused to come home and announced that she was pregnant. Additionally, the death of her husband has left a terrible fiery rage within her heart. She would not be heard from them for years, so after that she disappeared. Estranged from her father, who still preferred to believe that she was captured and seduced via magical means rather than contemplate that she had fallen in love and married a Dark Iron at her own free will, because he did not want that to happen. But what if Magni was right? What if there was some magical or void lord, dark, old god presence there? What if her son, Fenrir Thaurissan, is actually going to be heir to the throne of 2 of the 3 thrones? The thrones will run red with betrayal. All of it ties together seamlessly with the King of Diamonds has been made a pawn. Flesh is his gift, he is your true creator, referring to Yogg-Saron. The Boy King serves at the Master's table, 3 lies he will offer you. It all makes sense. Her heart is a crater. We have filled it. To find him, drown yourself in the circle of stars, deep home which we have seen. At the hour of her 3rd death, she will usher in her coming. That is the final strike that Sargeras, like I said before, will hit Azeroth with. 5 keys to open our way, 5 torches to light our path, the pillars of creation. The Lord of Ravens will turn the key. One thing that I have to say about that line, the Lord of Ravens, how I take it, and what I've seen a lot of people saying, is Odin. Now, Odin actually can take the form of a raven and was bound to the Halls of Valor for quite a long time. After defeating Helya, he was released and said that he would then journey back to Ulduar. We did find out, though, however, that a lot of the keepers that existed within Ulduar were corrupted by the old gods, including his son, Loken. Now, while we haven't seen any apparent specific information to suggest that Odin himself is actually corrupted. Il'gynoth does say, "The Lord of Ravens shall turn the key," and after allowing Odin to go back to leave the Halls of Valor, he is allowed to return to Ulduar, where yogg-saron's corruption was so heavily apparent. I don't know, you guys, it all fits. It all fits. But I've been talking with a lot of people, those in my guild, those on Akalon stream, and one individual in particular named Gerberus, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, who has pointed out some of this information to me, and I sincerely do appreciate that. You also hear whispers from the S-Priest weapon, Xal'atath, at the end of the Emerald Nightmare, which a lot of people know about. But I have a very, very strong feeling that this has been looked at the entirely wrong way the entire time. And what actually happened is going to be a twist, including the dwarves that we never anticipated. And keep in mind as well that Moira actually has dialogue that suggests, and if you spam her enough, you can actually see it in the class hall. Down in her quotes, you can clearly see, "In time, my son shall rule the dark irons, and perhaps all of Ironforge as well." Ironforge has need of our sorcery, as well as our strength. To me, these seem like very lightly foreshadowing messages that I think will all tie together when we come to the climax at the end of this expansion, leading us into the next expansion. Now, for those of you that may argue, well, how do you know she's a Shadow Priest? You can actually come here and look at her abilities. I actually show a screenshot on the screen of that. You can see what her abilities are. And she later works with Velen, Alonzus, Velen and Alonzus as a group of 3 to unite the priests of every religion at the Netherlight Temple. Velen being holy, Alonzus Feal being discipline. And I believe Moira, based on the fact that she has Mind Blast as her ability, one of her abilities, is the Shadow Priest. She knows of the powers of the void. It is absolutely insane. And I don't even know like what to look at from this point on. It all ties together, in my opinion, so perfectly that I just don't know what else it could be. But that's just my opinion. That is what we have come across. That is what we have derived, and the theory that we have developed, and it is just that. A theory based on what we think may happen. So, I'd like to know what you guys think. Leave a comment down in the comment section below, as I'm sure many of you have on the last 2 videos. And make sure that you share this around. I mean, this is pretty big news. I'd love to be able to see Nobble's attention on this and get his take on it, to see if there's anything that perhaps I'm missing. Anything that perhaps we overlooked or needs to be said. So I want to thank you guys so much, as always, for watching the video. Make sure you drop a like on the video so that I know you are enjoying this content. The last few videos have been wildly successful so far, and I really do appreciate all the support. You guys are amazing. So follow me on Twitter and on Twitch. If you don't know, I do have both of those. There'll be a link to those right over there. And with that, you guys, until next time, I'll see you. Peace!